Associated Press within the last minute has just called the race for Melat Kiros. Colorado is sending a Democratic Socialist to Congress for the first time. Her lead over Diana DeGette continues to grow. If you've been watching 9 News throughout the evening, this is not a surprise. This is what we've been saying since 7:30 tonight, that Diana DeGette did not have a path to victory based on those early numbers. The Associated Press says this race is over. Melat Kiros, 29 years old as Diana DeGette's congressional career, which ends tonight, not with a retirement, as many Denver Democrats had urged DeGette to do over the years, but instead with a beating at the hands of a first-time candidate for office, a corporate attorney turned barista and a member of the Democratic Socialists of America. Spencer Seuscher has been at the Kiros Watch Party in Denver tonight. And being there, Spencer, there is no question about why she defeated Diana DeGette.
Yeah, there really isn't. If you look around this room right now, it's young people. This is a young crowd. I have never been to a watch party that looked like this. I've never been to a watch party that had grinding and the music blaring like it is right now. We're double headphoned up. We expect her to come out here and speak here momentarily. I don't think the people in this room know yet that the AP has called this race, but they think she's coming out to speak any second now. And when that last ballot dump came out about three or 4 minutes ago, the same thing, the confetti cannons, the same type of celebration we saw when it happened at 7, again at 8, again at 9, and now we're seeing it again at 10. These people are excited about what they view as a revolution. And look behind me right now. You ever seen a campaign watch party that looked like a mosh pit? This is what Democrats have been trying to capture, was the young people. Now the question is, will this be effective, and is this what the image is of the Democratic Party in Colorado as well, Kyle?
Yeah, and Spencer, this will be the headline that America sees tomorrow, right? That this is a continuation of Democratic Socialist victories in other places, most recently New York City. The folks who do not know Melat Kiros, which I would venture to say is most Coloradans at this point, outside of a Democratic Party politics in Denver, are about to learn who she is, right? She's very young, she's very inexperienced, she's very intelligent, she's very eloquent, unlike some of the folks that we've seen in New York City who seem to be saying sensationalized things just for shock value. That's not her. She's very dogmatic, right? She is a hard leftist. She is a Democratic Socialist through and through, but she is a very good advocate for her point of view. And I think Colorado and America is about to hear that. Whether or not they agree with her views, they are going to hear those views explained in detail by a 29-year-old barista.
Yeah, and I think they're about to hear it on 9 News as well. It looks like she's about to make her way outside of this room where she had been, at least for some period of time tonight. She's been in that room at least once, I know, with a far-left streamer, Hassan Piker, who has really helped boost her profile. He's here tonight. There's been lines around this place of people lining up to take pictures with him. He has some, what some would describe as pretty far-left views on Israel, and obviously Kiros has had to deal with some accusations of anti-Semitism as well. But this is a moment for the Democratic Socialists in Colorado and across the country, right?
Right, there are Democratic Socialists on Denver City Council and in the state legislature, and now soon to be in the Colorado congressional delegation, because obviously a Republican is not going to be competitive in Colorado's first congressional district. Here she comes on the way. All right. Yep. Go ahead and move your camera if you guys want to move the camera over there.
All right. I'm getting out of your way. You
do it.
Me.
You do it. We'll continue to kind of talk about this here as we get the camera ready for Melat Kiros. Right. We talked about how Israel was a central issue of this race. Diana DeGette, who has been supportive of U.S. aid to Israel over the years. Melat Kiros has called for an all-out arms embargo to Israel, offensive and defensive weapons. She has called the actions of Israel in Gaza a genocide. She has said that the October 7th Hamas massacres of Israelis were the inevitable consequence of apartheid by Israel. In an interview with 9 News, she extrapolated that to say that she thought that 9/11, the terror attacks here, were the inevitable consequence of American foreign policy. Let's listen in here. I can't even see who we're talking about here. Okay, this is a campaign staffer or supporter. So we'll wait until Kiros gets up there to turn things over to her. But where she really ran into some trouble and some controversy in recent weeks is in an interview here on 9 News, in which I asked her if the Boulder firebombing of elderly Jewish people was anti-Semitism or anti-Zionism. And she hedged and said, I don't know what's in the heart of the attacker. And we heard from a lot of folks in the Jewish community that they found that answer to be unacceptable. And certainly Denver's Jewish community has outreach to Melat Kiros, not a monolithic community, but some of that community feel like she hasn't really listened to their concerns. Not that she's going to adopt their policy positions, but hasn't really listened to their concerns. And I think that answer is going to be replayed. It already is being replayed on Fox News and other places to paint her as an extremist. Her view, you can say it's extreme, right? Meaning outside the mainstream. It is also nuanced in the sense that she will explain to you exactly why she believes what she believes, but a good number of people, including within her own party, hear it and say, whoa, that's unacceptable.
But do you think now with this win, she's going to want to appeal to the larger audience here in Colorado, and maybe she strays away from that?
It's a great question. I mean, she has had overtures to the Jewish community in Colorado, and Colorado's 1st congressional district has the largest Jewish population of any district in the state. She's made overtures to say, I'm not anti-Semitic. I condemn the attacks of October 7th, even if I think that they were inevitable. You know, I condemn the firebombing in Boulder, even if I'm not willing to say that I believe that it's anti-Semitism versus anti-Zionism. Again, she will be painted as an extreme reactionary. And I think it's fair to call some of her views extreme if you just look at where the rest of American politics are right now. But when you hear her talk about it, you will hear somebody who has the ability to translate those views to a larger audience, as indicated by the fact that she's just won a party primary in Denver. And I don't think that you're going to hear the exact same tone on things that you necessarily hear out of New York City. And please, we will go right back to her watch party as soon as she speaks. But obviously, the standard bearer for democratic socialism in America right now is New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani, right? Who has some views that are very much outside the mainstream of American politics. He also really tends to pick his battles. He's a phenomenal communicator, no matter what you think of his political ideology, and he picks his battles. Melat Kiros does not strike me, at least in my conversations with her so far and watching her campaign, as somebody who picks her battles. She chooses select all, right? She's willing to fight on any ground for democratic socialism, but like Mamdani, she is an exceptional communicator. She also is a 29-year-old woman. Right? And I asked her, like, what experience do you bring that will make you effective in Congress at the age of 29? Right? And that's young.
Well, confidence for one, because she stepped in line, right? There were so many people waiting for Diana DeGette to finally retire and walk away. She didn't do that. And Kiros just said, no, I'm here, and I'm going to take her on.
Yeah. Do we have the ability to look back into Kiros' party to see what's going on? So we've got other supporters, actually, we got other supporters who are talking and who are revving up the crowd and so forth. She got an enormous amount of support from Democratic Socialists outside of Denver, to the point that some establishment people kind of prickled at this, which honestly struck me as funny because Diana DeGette got an enormous amount of dark money from outside Colorado to help her. This was one of those races that within the last couple of weeks nationalized. It became a national race in which Diana DeGette said, help, I'm drowning, you must send me help. What she got was dollars, which she spent on this TV station and others while she was refusing to come in and answer questions here because she didn't want to get tripped up. But she didn't necessarily have the boots on the ground help that could overcome the advantage that Melat Kiros had built by going door to door. Their phone banking numbers were astonishing in the last couple of days. Like, if you are a Democrat in Denver, there's a very good chance that you heard from the Kiros campaign 1, 2, or 13 times. They were very well resourced for a Democratic Socialist campaign, and that's how they beat Diana DeGette. We'll take you to Melat Kiros when she speaks. First, we want to go to our Phil Lipoff, who is at the DeGette watch party. And Phil, that thing was the sound of a deflating balloon from the start tonight.
Kyle, it was. The minute we got here, we looked around and said there were about 15, 20 people here. It did not have a good feel, and we got here 6:30, even before that first ballot drop. You were just talking about the dollars that she got, that Diana DeGette got. Dollars don't matter. As you know, when there is a groundswell and when your opponent is saying it's the dollars that matter, it's the corporate money that matters. I can tell you this, there are 4 people left in this room right now, 4. 2 of them are photographers, 2 of them are reporters. The bartender's gone, everyone is gone. It was an hour ago that Diana DeGette's campaign manager said to me, this race isn't going to be called tonight, and she's not going to speak tonight. Now, when he said that, I thought the race might be called, but I believed him when he said Diana DeGette was not going to speak tonight. This started, Kyle, as you and I have talked about, from the caucus. I'm almost not getting on the ballot. I spoke to a 30-year supporter of Diana DeGette tonight, who's in his 70s, who said he has spoken to many younger voters who voted for Diana DeGette at least once, if not more, over the last 30 years, and did not vote for her this time. There was a groundswell. Spencer has been telling you all night about the young, the age of the voters who were at the watch party for Melat Kiros, and that's the tale of the story. There are voters who voted for Diana DeGette in the past who didn't vote for her this time. There was a swell. She was caught off guard. Even her voters tonight told me that. I said, was she complacent after 30 years? This was the first real challenge she's had in 30 years. And they said, I wouldn't use the word complacent, but I would say she was surprised by how this whole thing progressed. And that is where we are tonight. This room is completely empty. Diana DeGette is not going to speak tonight. And the AP has called the race from Melat Kiros.
It is not shocking that this happened, Phil, because we knew that Kiros was going to run a competitive race down the stretch. It is still going to take a lot of Coloradans by surprise to see that the woman who inherited this seat from Pat Schroeder, a legend of American politics, and who was a vocal progressive for years, even if she stayed as somewhat of a backbencher in Congress and wasn't very prominent, that this is how her career ends tonight with a bit of a whimper.
And look, Kyle, the way it began was when Pat Schroeder retired and she was considered the younger, more progressive candidate who was going to take the torch. Well, tonight, 30 years later, the exact amount of time that Pat Schroeder held the seat, she is now handing the torch, not willingly, to a younger, more progressive candidate.
Not by choice. And that's how it ends for Diana DeGette. Phil Lipoff, thank you very much. Again, we will take you inside Melat Kiros' victory party tonight. As soon as she speaks, we will hear from the first Democratic socialist ever elected to Congress out of Colorado.